Hello and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Meha Bharat. It's time for us to transition from the bright yellows and pinks of the IPL to the more serene whites of Test cricket. That is right. The World Test Championship final will be played from the 7th of June at the Oval between India and Australia, and the one with the strongest character will win this battle. India were runners-up last time around as they lost to New Zealand in the final in Southampton in 2021. Will they be able to change the result this time around? It doesn't get bigger than this in Test cricket, and we will be covering the final for you right here on News 9 Live. So who will it be? Who will adapt to this format, to the conditions better? Who will show the mental resilience that's needed in this format? Who will be able to sustain their domination over 5 days? Those are not the only questions that we will be discussing on the show. We will ask a guest here on the show about what they think should be India's playing combination. So let me introduce our guest for you. Jamie Alter is here with us. He was busy watching Ireland-England test match. He went on a 3-day holiday that he had planned because he said he was exhausted by covering the IPL non-stop. So that's a true cricket lover who cannot get enough of cricket. Thank you so much, Jamie, for taking the time out. Let's get straight to it. How excited are you? I mean, you know, we saw the IPL and of course the thrill of a last ball finish in a lot of those games in the IPL, but this is a different format, and this is a format that we both love. We've spoken about it, but this is going to be one solid final between two teams that actually match each other on paper.
Absolutely, always good to transition. I know Shane Watson has said that the transition from the IPL to Test cricket is huge, but as us who get to watch and talk on it, I personally love these transitions. And yes, I mean, after every IPL season over the last 16 years, inevitably it has been a test match or a test series that we've all ourselves transitioned into watching and talking about. So I personally am really looking forward to this. Yes, I enjoyed that 3-day match between England and Ireland as well. But you know, this match with the reserve day, we could be looking at 6 days of intense cricket. And even beyond this, for Australia, there's 5 matches against England. You know, we're looking at a fantastic summer of what I think should be very competitive Test cricket, starting with, of course, this WTC final.
Now, overcooked or underdone, Jamie? People are asking this question: who will have the advantage? Which team will come better prepared? Because 14 out of 15 players in the Indian team were playing the IPL, whereas for Australia, only 2 of them featured in the IPL, and I think the others were playing county cricket, but most of them have been on a break. They haven't played competitive cricket since that Border Gavaskar Trophy against India. Who will have the advantage?
I think it's advantage Australia. Yes, I know that Pat Cummins, since he flew back to Australia midway through that series back in Feb, I think it was middle of February or 3rd week of February, he's not played cricket. But these breaks, I feel that these breaks often just give the players a bit more gas in the tank. And we saw this. I mean, I know it's a different format, but if you flip the equation, India went into the 2021 T20 World Cup in the West Indies, yes, as the favorites, but they were cooked, they were spent because they had the IPL, then they went to England, they played 4 test matches, and now, like you just said, you know, majority, barring Cheteshwar Pujara, you know, of course, Jadeja was injured, but Pujara was the one player who's actually not even in the country while the IPL was going on. Now, you compare that to Australia. They've had Marnus Labuschagne camped out in England for weeks, almost probably over a month, scoring runs. He's a third highest run getter, sorry, in Division 2 of the championship, of the county championship. You have Steve Smith, who's had a break. So I just think when it comes down to picking, and again, it's a thin line between picking players who've been actively playing one format, and yes, that's very valuable to be in the zone. But these players who've been, and I think half of Australia's squad more like has been playing county cricket for the better part of a month. That, with the freshness that players like Stark and Cummins bring into it, having not been playing for a long time, for me, it's definitely advantage Australia.
Also about, you know, the conditions. Such a huge part of who does better here. Who wins this test match will come down to who adapts to these conditions at the Oval better. Both these teams, I mean, they've prepared in whatever way they could, but it is going to be interesting how Indian batters play in these conditions, because that match of Indian batters in English conditions, that's historically not been very good. So how do you see that playing out, especially with some of the batters who've not played here before? If Kishan gets a chance, how will he adapt to the conditions there? Also, I mean, we don't know who the number 5 would be in that lineup. In case it's Suryakumar Yadav, maybe they want to punt with Suryakumar Yadav, then how will that play out? So it'll be interesting, Jamie.
Two ways to look at this, Maya. One is 2 summers ago, India landed in England, that same summer of 2021 that I spoke of. They were the number 1 test team. 5 years Virat Kohli had led them. And they ran up against New Zealand in that final at Southampton. Of course, the rain played spoil sport, but the fact that England had been camped, New Zealand had been camped in England, played 2 test matches, won a test series, as compared to a bunch of players who came from the IPL into a white ball series and landed up. That was a massive factor. Okay. Now, the second thing is, you rightly highlighted, I've been going through the numbers in the last 5 to 7 years. India have become, we all know, we've all spoken about it, we've all done shows on it, how they become a much improved traveling side, right? If you look at the last 5 years, purely and again, I don't like the term, but I'll use that Sena country format. In the matches India have lost or drawn, the batsmen have been the culprits. Okay, yes, they were up 3-1 in 2021. Virat Kohli scored runs there, but overall, it is India's batsmen who have collectively disappointed when stacked up against India's bowlers. And we all know that Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri, they firmly believe that we need 5 bowlers. And it was right, because those 5 bowlers, whichever 5 bowlers they picked, they more times than not, they took 20 opposition wickets. But in the last 4 years, as you narrow it down, putting aside COVID, the totals have dropped from where once 400 was possible. That's now 250, 220, right? Yes, in South Africa last year, it was said, oh, the bowlers aren't doing the job.
Yeah.
Even the bowling had dipped in that tour, but the batting has been problematic. Just look no further than this time last year. In fact, 11 months ago, India had England in a tough spot, right? But the batting collapsed in the second innings of that rescheduled 5th test match. And then on the day, 378 for 3, Bazball was just taking shape. They stunned India, but the batting is the problem. So now to come back to your question, you mentioned Kishan not played in England. KS Bharat, I think he's played 1 India A match, right? Then you have Rahane, right? No disrespect, but you've gone back to a player who, after 15 tests in England, averages a paltry 26, right? So, and I'm sure this question will come in the show. What India's bowling combo, 3-2, 2-4, whatever it is, to my mind, it's based on who India backed at number 5. You mentioned Suryakumar Yadav, but he's a standby player. A standby player comes in when someone is not fit to play. As of now, purely based on their selection, India have left themselves with no option but to pick Ajinkya Rahane at number 5. And herein starts the problem.
Okay, then that leads me to the next question, Jamie. The last time around that India travelled to England, you were speaking about it, but your top 3 scorers were Rohit Sharma, Rishabh Pant and KL Rahul. 2 out of those 3 are not there, but what you have is someone who's in red hot form in all 3 formats in Shubman Gill, and you have Virat Kohli, who's also, the comeback really has been fantastic for Virat Kohli, because you see what he did in the IPL and before that, but you know what Virat Kohli does when he is up against an opposition against an opposition like Australia, because of how well he's played in the past. So this is, in a way, when you look at it, you may not have some of your top players, but this is a very good team, and on paper, Australia, India, they are matching each other equally. I mean, I can't pick one out saying, oh, this is going to be better, except, I mean, leave out the advantage bit of, having understood the conditions better, all of that. But I'm saying man to man, both these teams are equally strong.
Not so sure about that because I think when you just go back to what we are talking about before, the advantage of playing in the IPL, advantage or disadvantage. Now, Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli, who both scored a lot of runs, I actually believe that they're not going to have a tough time translating that red hot T20 form into this match, right? Because unlike Australia, they're not planning for 5 test matches after this, right? Australia, no. This is an all important final. They have a chance to be crowned world test champions. But for them, bigger picture is 5 test matches against England, starting what, a week after this match in a country where they've not won the Ashes for 20 years. So from that angle, I think having Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli, that is where I think India have the advantage. But again, do the other players have it in them to translate, or to switch from T20 to Test? I just don't think so. Let's talk about Rohit Sharma, right? Not done anything great in either formats for a long time. Setting aside one odd individual innings of brilliance, that 120 in the first as a Border Gavaskar, and then he got 100 in one of the in one of the one days against New Zealand before this. But current form, he's going through an all-time low when it comes to the IPL. Right, his fitness is again not looking very good. Can he go back and repeat the heroics? You mentioned the highest run score. I don't think so. Then yes, Pujara is someone who is very interesting because he's parked himself in England for the better part of 6 weeks as captain of Sussex. He's got runs, but we often see that doesn't mean that he's going to do anything big. So right now, India's batting is actually hinging on Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli, whereas Australia can look at 4 to 5 players in good county form. So that's why I still maintain that Australia have better players going into this one match. But whether they're able to switch on the same way that India can, India, no. This is it. We have to win this match. Australia is constantly thinking about what's coming beyond this. That is where it could unravel for them.
Okay, now the flavor of 2023, the most promising all-format opener going around, and a potential future India captain, 23-year-old Shubman Gill returns to England a year later as a wholly transformed batsman. When he arrived in England in June 2022 for the rescheduled 5th test, he was in the middle of a lean run and managed 17 and 4 at Edgbaston. But by the time 2022 ended, Gill had a maiden test century to his name and a lot of ODI runs, which was translated into a bumper start to 2023 with 3 more ODI centuries and 1 double hundred, and then a first T20I century. In the BGT, he cemented his place as opener with a century versus Australia. Now, after scoring 890 runs in the IPL, Gill returns to England as an opener in tremendous form. So, if the Aussies, their quicks, don't get him early at the Oval, we can expect Gill to make them pay. This is what I think they would be planning for, Jamie. Because we know how much homework Aussies do, with every player and how to get him out, what to do against him, what will work against him. A lot of time would have gone into how to get Shubman Gill out.
Absolutely, the Australians know it, and I think all these comments that Ricky Ponting has been saying recently, this is all just kind of tactics to perhaps get the Australians worked up a little more. There's no doubt that Gill, despite a small sample size in Test cricket against Australia, has got a very good record. I mean, we've talked about all he's done this year, but that 91 he got on that final day of the Brisbane Test. I mean, that is class batting from someone playing. I think it was his 3rd Test match. So Australia are very aware of what he can do, and when it's your year, when you said this is the best all-format player going around, a future India captain, it's almost like I mean, personally, I'm not even factoring any change of the ball and the pitch and the conditions. He's just every format he's played this year, he's wowed us. So I would not be surprised if India bat on day one and he's 181 not out at the end of the first day. Of course, you have to bat extremely well against a top class bowling side. But such is Shubman Gill's form, such is his confidence, that I would not put a 200 off the table, right now. Yes, they'll have their plans, but again, I just want to come back to the conditions. It's June, it's the Oval, one of the more batting friendly tracks. Of course, it's a new pitch, I'm hearing, And with Stark and Cummins and most likely Scott Boland will now slot in. Nathan Lyon is there, 500 odd, with wickets. This is a top class bowling attack, and let's not forget this is a bowling attack, a whole team, in fact, which will be dying to get back for the BGT series, with all those rank turners. But if Shubman Gill can get going, I mean, wow, I think we're in for a treat of a test match.
Absolutely. Okay, now all of you who've joined us on this show, the question we're asking, actually there are a lot of questions, but what would be your playing combination, the playing 11 for India in the World Test Championship final? That's what we're asking. We'll get into the specifics of it, in terms of wicketkeeper. Who should be in the team? Should it be Ishan Kishan or should it be KS Bharat? What's your take on that? Do let us know in the comment section below. We're already getting comments. Suresh Menon asked you a question. Jamie, will Rahane make it to the playing 11? And says, thanks, Jamie, you answered it. And then wants to know your Indian bowling attack. Suresh, we will get to that as well. We will talk about whether India should go in with 2 spinners or should they go in with just 1 spinner because of what happened in the last World Test Championship final in overcast conditions in Southampton. You really didn't require Ravindra Jadeja, who didn't do much. Ashwin still got wickets. So is that smart for India to go in with 2 spinners? Talk about all of that. But Kishan Sarkar also joins us. We finally caught him. He was away, busy in a meeting. So he joins us here. Kishan, thanks for coming on the show. We've been talking about the playing combination. I think that's been the buzz really on Twitter, on social media. Everybody wants to know what should be India's playing 11. And so let's get straight into it now that I have both of you. We've already spoken about the advantage that Australia have in terms of the conditions and playing in those conditions better. But having said that, India were leading the last series. They played in England before that one-off test match for what they came back for. So keeping all of that in mind, playing combination, let's begin with keeper, Ishan Kishan or KS Bharat?
Ishan Kishan for me, but I believe the team management and here the coach Rahul Dravid comes into the picture. They will go with KS Bharat because he has been given 4 matches, so there is no question that he won't be given the 5th match. And also in England, the ball dips and wobbles after passing the bat because of the moisture and the lush green outfield. So when it wobbles, if you've seen Rishabh Pant in his debut series in England in 2018 had conceded around 40 byes. So there they would like to get a keeper who is better equipped, and KS Bharat had played for India A in Beckenham, where Australian team practiced, and had 5 catches against West Indies A in a test in 2018. So keeping all those things into consideration, I think they will play KS Bharat, but Ishan Kishan should have been the ideal choice because you have only 5 right-handers. So there is a lot of sameness to the top order specialist batting lineup. So he could have been that enforcer, maybe a game changer in these conditions if the ball comes onto the bat. But that's my choice. My choice is Ishan Kishan, but I think they will go with KS Bharat.
Which is what I think we all believe because of what the kind of decisions that Rohit Sharma and Rahul Dravid have taken in the past. They really don't want to experiment too much. They know what's at stake, Kishan and Jamie. They know this is a big World Test Championship final. They would want to go, and they preferred KS Bharat over Ishan Kishan in the Border Gavaskar Trophy as well, Jamie. But just like Kishan was saying, you have a left-right combination. You also have someone who can be your X factor. He can disrupt Australia's plans. Australia wouldn't know what to do against him. And frankly, you look at KS Bharat, he's still work in progress, both in front and behind the wicket.
Yeah, I mean, 99%, I'm in agreement with what Kishan said, and I'm in 100% agreement that is how it's going to play out. But just that one match 5 years ago in 2018, I think when it comes to the batting skill, I mean, they're both on the same page because what KS Bharat achieved and what he did not achieve in the Border Gavaskar trophies, I think it'll amount to nothing because this is a one-off test match in very, very different conditions. So if we're looking at batting, I would also go with Ishan Kishan. I know the natural comparison is to Rishabh Pant, There is no comparison for Pant. Pant is India's GOAT of all time when it comes to test keeping batting. But yes, for what he possibly could do or could offset Australia's plans, I would also like to see Ishan Kishan get the chance. Not so much because he's a lefty. I think that concept at times can be a bit overrated. But just the fact that he can just maybe come 30% close to what Rishabh Pant has done. But like Kushan said, you don't want someone conceding 40, 45 buys, leg buys combined. And for that matter, in this situation, I think indeed they will go for the safer keeper, which we all know is
Yeah.
KS Bharat.
Yeah. The other thing being how much of this will come down to whether India plays two spinners, Kushan. You know, I heard Ravi Shastri say this in one of the shows. He said that if they go in with two spinners, then they'll go with KS Bharat. Will it come down to that now?
Well, we have in 140 years of history of Test cricket at the Oval, there hasn't been a Test match that has been held in the month of June.
Yeah.
So even I don't think the two teams know what to expect. Like you have to look at the patterns of how Surrey has played their matches, home matches at the ground during the month of June, during the early part of the county season. That's the only kind of examples, or you can say the kind of data that you will have going into this game, because Oval is always the last test match for a visiting team, either at the end of August or at the start of September. By that time, the pitches are tired, they dry out, and the spinners come into operation. Wasim Akram yesterday said that when Pakistan played during his time, both Saqlain Mushtaq and Mushtaq Ahmed, at times they played both because it was end August and September. But in the month of June, and today we had some of our journalist friends who were there in the UK. They had sent some pictures of the track, and even some of the grass is shaved, but there will be a lot of grass being shaved. And in these conditions, whether you are going to go with two specialist spinners, I do not know, because in Southampton, in wet conditions, Virat Kohli and Ravi Shastri went with two specialist spinners, and the result wasn't a great one.
Yeah.
If we can recall.
Yeah.
So that is there. But if you are going to play Ravichandran, Ashwin, Meha, then you might as well play Jadeja for creating those rough marks. But again, if Ravichandran, Ashwin plays, the rough marks will also be created. If Mitchell Stark plays, at the other end, the rough marks can be created.
Correct.
For the other team. So that is there. So these are the things. Like, are you seriously thinking about Jadeja Unatkat? I do not know, but if you are going to play two spinners, you might think about that. But as of now, I believe they will go with four pacers, which also include both Umesh and Shardul, with Ravindra Jadeja as the number 6 batter, as the left-hander, and that X factor who will bowl those 10 to 12 overs in the middle, in the 90 overs in a day, 10 to 12 overs. I don't see Ravindra Jadeja bowling more than 10 to 12 overs.
Yeah.
If the track remains like this.
This is an interesting one. For all of you who are wondering, this is in fact the first time that we'll see a test match being played in June. Like Kushan was saying, this has not happened ever. A test match hasn't been played in this month. I think the earliest that a test was played was in July first week. So nobody knows what to expect. That's very correct. The other thing is there going to be more bounce? Because normally by the fourth test match of a tour, pitches slow down. Is there going to be more bounce? Is it okay to play two spinners then? Will India need two spinners? We saw what happened in the World Test Championship final last time in Southampton in overcast conditions. Jadeja, I think, bowled 8 to 9 overs, didn't do much. Ravichandran, Ashwin did make an impact. Jamie, come in and tell us what you think. If India do go in with one spinner, will it be Jadeja or should it be Ashwin?
I think just to pick up on that 2021 Southampton final, I mean, I think Kushan was being very nice in the way he summed it up. That was a blunder. That is the black mark for me on the Kohli Shastri tenure, because you were number one for 5 years and then you utterly just you blundered when it came to picking, right? That was a match when a final, let's say, in which New Zealand did not pick a spinner. They picked 5 seam bowling options and they smashed India, right? Now, Kushan is absolutely right in saying that this is a time where no one is actually sure what is going to be happening with this track. But we all know that by the time June's second week comes about, batsmen in county cricket are feeling a lot more confident because April, May, the ball is nipping about. That's when you get the scores under 150. By the time June comes, now the scores are getting to 300. So I think there will be bounce. It's a fresh pitch. But again, to answer the question from my perspective, it's not about the past. It's not about the future. It's about what works for you on June 7th, 2023. And in my mind, I have no doubt that it should be 2 spinners. Yes, Jadeja and Ashwin never teamed up before. Ashwin was sidelined for all those test matches. But to me, that does not matter a jot. Right now, the stats say that your batting has let you down overseas test matches. You need 6 bowling options, 5 minimum. But when you're batting, and again, I don't want to be disrespectful, when you've gone back to a guy who averages 26 after 4 tours to England, he's not the option for number 5, right? You need to bolster the batting. There's no doubt I'm on the same page as Kushan, no more than 12 overs per Jaddu per day. If you want 25 overs per day, then Ashwin is your man. But traditionally, Ashwin is the guy who's always sat out when Jaddu's played. But what do they both? I think India's batting is again going to be exposed in this test match. You need the lower order contributing. This is why Jadeja has to play. This is why Ashwin has to play, and this is why Shardul Thakur has to play. Once you've slotted in these 3, and this is just my view, I frankly don't care who the other 2 seamers are because I have full faith in India's ability to take 20 wickets, no matter what 5 you pick. I don't have the same faith from India's batting. I think a lot of them are walking wickets. Just for what Ashwin, Shardul, and Jadeja offer with the bat, I lock these 3 guys in.
Kushan, do you agree? Who's your number 5?
Number 5, Jadeja is number 5.
Yeah, okay. So you're also saying 2 spinners, right?
No, he's asking. He's asking.
If you ask me, I would like to see 4. Am I audible, Beha?
Yes,
am I audible?
Yes. No, I'm saying who is your number 5? Because Jamie is not sure Ajinkya Rahane should be number 5.
Because there aren't any options available at number 5.
Exactly.
You have to play Ajinkya Rahane. The moment Sreyash Iyer was ruled out, you didn't have any option until and unless you are looking at Kishan as a pure batter.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not at Ajinkya Rahane, because there could jolly well that you are looking at Rishabh Pant's comeback as a pure batter.
Yeah.
That can because when Rishabh Pant comes back, we still do not know, Meha, that whether he will remain a keeper batter. Batter he will remain for sure, because Rishabh Pant the batter we need more than Rishabh Pant the keeper. But keeper, crouching and everything we do not know. So you might as well just try out Kishan and see. But for a serious match like this, one-off match, I don't think they are going to go with that experiment. Ajinkya Rahane, 82 test matches, 4931 runs. Yes, 26 average. JB is absolutely right. The numbers are glaring.
Yeah.
But if you have picked him, you don't pick an 82 test guy to carry drinks. You have picked him because you have got to play. Otherwise, had Sreyash Iyer been there, you wouldn't have picked him in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so your bowling attack, gentlemen, before we move on. Jamie, you've said 2 spinners. Who are your pacers?
I'm going with Jadeja, Ashwin, Shardul, Shami, and Mohammad Siraj. It's very, very tempting to pick a left armour, the only left armour you have. But I think they'll reward current T20 form and also look at what these guys have done overseas. And while I'm a big fan of what Jadeja Unadkat's done in domestic cricket, I don't think one decent test match against Bangladesh has perhaps pitchforked him up till there. So I'm going with Shardul because it's the Oval. He's done very well there. And like I said, the emphasis on bowlers who can bat, that's got him there. And then between Siraj, look, Mohammad Shami is a shoo-in. Between Siraj and Umesh, I know Umesh had a terrific test match at the Oval there last time. But, coming off a very poor IPL, he was injured. I think it should be Mohammad Siraj.
Okay, what about you, Kushan?
Shami, Siraj and Jadeja are automatic picks. And I would have Shardul and Jadev Unadkat. But I don't think Unadkat will play. I think it will be mostly be Umesh. Because if the pitch remains like this, I don't see Ashwin playing.
Yeah, Jadeja Unadkat can bat as well. So that is the other thing that'll go in his favor. So we're talking about the bowling attack, and we've got to talk about the most experienced fast bowler in India's World Test Championship squad. And in Jasprit Bumrah's absence, he is the leader of the attack. Mohammad Shami will need to bring all his test experience into the final. Coming off a personal best IPL season and the purple cap for most wickets, 28 at an economy of 8.03, Shami can claim some confidence heading into the World Test Championship final in England, where his record is as follows. He's played 13 test matches, taken 38 wickets at an average of 40.52 and a strike rate of 69.3 with a best of 4 for 47. But more than the stats he has in England, it is Shami's experience and the control with the new ball and the old that looks like being the biggest threat to Australia's batsmen. And I think that will be important given that we don't have Jasprit Bumrah, Kishan, to have Mohammad Shami. And they've been bowling very well with white ball, but with red ball, you know, in those conditions, if Shami can get the ball swinging, it'll be interesting how, because we've not been talking about Australia's batting as well. Marnus Labuschagne's been scoring runs. David Warner's not in the form, but though he's saying that, you know, he's looking at this as sort of the final, chapter of his career. But the importance of Mohammad Shami and Siraj with the new ball in these conditions.
And like obviously, if you ask me, there are two different types of bowlers. Siraj is more of a hit the deck hard leg kind of a bowler, whose ball would wobble a lot. In case of Shami, probably after Kapil Dev, the man with the best upright seam position, something you can see with your naked eye on television, and you could view that seam, you could see that pronounced seam when he pitches it, and he pitches it full. He bowls that English Test match length. He will bowl those outswingers, which is his stock ball, and then he will get the ball to dart back in. So he is a complete fast bowler, and probably at times we are enamored by Jasprit Bumrah and his action, and obviously Jasprit Bumrah is a runaway match winner. There is a kind of romance with Jasprit Bumrah's ability. So at times probably we forget what Mohammad Shami has done for Indian cricket. Look at the number of 4-wicket hauls Mohammad Shami has had.
Yeah.
Just not the 5 first. You'll understand why Jasprit Bumrah was so successful. For every Jasprit Bumrah to be successful, you need a Mohammad Shami at the other end.
Oh, absolutely. Well said. Okay. We've talked about the Indian bowlers. What about Indian pacers? What about the Australian pacers? Now, a big blow to Australia to not have Josh Hazlewood, but they're preserving him for the Ashes. For Indians, they'll be breathing a sigh of relief, Jamie, but only just because there will be, Mitchell Starc coming at them, Pat Cummins coming at them, and the onus on the openers. We know why India did well on their last tour to England was because your openers were giving you starts. Rohit Sharma was batting well, and so was KL Rahul. How important will that be? We know Shubman Gill is in the form of his life, but to get support from Rohit Sharma. And Rohit Sharma does love batting here. He enjoys the conditions. He knows how to bat in these conditions.
Exactly. As I said, there's not too much point looking at what's happened because this is just a one-off test match. So India don't have to worry about 5 matches of the Ashes coming up, right? Yes, a couple players are not in the form that we'd like to see them in, but I think this just being a one-off test match, right? And despite having players, most of your squad for the last 2 months hasn't playing in the IPL, it still is a ground where India will back themselves because individually, you mentioned Rohit Sharma, Shardul Thakur has done well here, Umesh has done well here, KL Rahul's not around, but he's also done well here. And we've seen as good as Rohit and KL Rahul were, you mentioned at the start of the show that they were the most successful. But as with the case with many, many Indian players, the longer a series goes on, the returns start to dip, right? Around those 2 innings, KL Rahul didn't do anything on that tour, right? Yeah. This is why I'm saying just because it's just 2 innings, India's batsmen will be far more confident. We've seen this. Arey yaar, iske baad 3 aur match hai, wahan pe they don't have to deal with that baggage of the weather, what's happening. They can put all their energy into batting at what I still maintain is going to be a fairly batting friendly ground, despite this being the first week of June. But again, is Rohit Sharma going to be looking back at what he scored 2 years ago? I don't think so. Shubman Gill, 2021, Shubman Gill's test career could have actually kick-started, but he got injured. Then Mayank Agarwal got injured, and then KL Rahul, who was drafted in as a middle-order batsman, got to open and score those runs. Last year, he came back. Again, he just gotten a second chance at Test cricket, but he got 17 and 4. He struggled against the new ball bowlers. But like you said at the start of the show, this is a Shubman Gill with 890 runs. So between them, Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma, if they can get off to a good start, it's only going to give confidence to Pujara, Kohli, and Rahane.
Okay, now what is the right way of batting in these conditions? Indian players, when they go there, more often than not, they're finding it very difficult to bat in these conditions. So what is the right way? The top scorer from the last series, Rohit Sharma, the captain of the Indian team, he had this to say. We're going to put those quotes up. He was asked about how do you survive in these conditions with, there's swing and bounce. What do you do? And that quote is going to come up on your screens in just a moment. This is how you bat in those conditions, and I'm told that we'll try to get that graphic in, but we don't have it at the moment. So here is what he said I'm just giving you a gist of it, and he said that you have to maintain your focus, because when you're playing in England, you're never really in, because conditions keep changing, and when that happens, any ball can get you out. So what you need to do while playing in England is that you have to maintain your focus. You need to keep focusing on every delivery for a long period of time. Just maintain that concentration, and that's the right way. And Kishan, that's easier said than done when you have Pat Cummins and you have Mitchell Starc coming at you.
Oh yes, it is going to be an onerous challenge. But knowing Rohit will not be shy of playing those pull shots if they dig it in short. He will play those pull and hook shots. He will not shy away. That's his go-to shot. Even if they keep a deep fine leg or a deep square leg, he will still go or a long leg. He will still play those shots. But what has happened with Rohit Sharma, the test batsman over the years, is that he has got a fair idea about where his off stump is. And that is where probably has been the reason for his success of 50 plus average in the WTC cycle over the last 3 years, the first and the second WTC cycle. So that is where I feel that Rohit Sharma, the test batter, is still in the best shape than Rohit Sharma, the T20 batter, or Rohit Sharma, the ODI batter. Rohit Sharma, the test batter, is in the best shape. Like I know Jamie, how strongly Jamie feels about Rohit Sharma, the T20 batter. And I am in agreement with him.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Test cricket in England, in this Test match, it could, my prediction could go hugely wrong. But I think the best chance of anyone succeeding among this Indian lineup is Rohit Sharma, because of his concept of his off stump during the last 2 to 3 years. That's why there is this chance. If he gets out, there is a fair possibility that he will get out in the hold out in the deep, because he will not shy away from playing those horizontal bat shot, the pull, short arm pull, or the hook shot. And the reflex is not the same as it used to be 5 years back. So there is every possibility that he will react a split second late. That can happen. But with Rohit Sharma, I'm just trying to be a soothsayer, and I can be trolled mercilessly for this. But I feel that there is a possibility that Rohit Sharma will not get caught in the split corner or nick it. There is Virat Kohli will have that possibility. In case of Rohit Sharma, it could be a different story.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's just talk about how this is what we wait for. I mean, Jamie, IPL is one thing, and it's great to watch IPL, the thrill, the drama, the fun of it all. But this is a different game. This format just makes you realize again and again why we love this format, right? So this is going to be exciting given both these teams are tough, and you know, conditions will play their role, but it'll come down to who has that mental resilience.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, all said and done, the IPL is fun and games, but it's still a corporate league, right? This is international cricket. This is Test cricket. All these success stories of the IPL, and even Pujara, who's been parked in Sussex for 6 weeks, scoring lots of runs, and their captain, they all know that there's nothing beats it. This is why every single member of India's squad started playing this game because of visuals or stories or something they heard or seen of Test match. You know, we all born and raised here. We know that even when India was not playing, the amount of Test cricket highlights we would get, especially in the early 90s when Star was at its peak, showing us, and even the odd county match. We all know the charm and the allure of watching, the red ball and people in whites. So this is going to be fantastic. And like I said earlier, yes, from an Indian perspective, this is one match. But even for Australia, playing 5 Test matches in England, I'm looking forward to 6 gripping Test matches over the next 2 months. So I just cannot wait. I mean, it was fun doing the IPL, but yeah, this is Test cricket, and it's also a WTC final. Only the
Yeah.
second. I mean, I'm sure Kishan will have the exact number rolling off his tongue as to how many Test matches have been played in the history of this game. But it's only the second WTC final, and just because of how India were outsmarted and outplayed last time, I just
Yeah.
hope things go right
Yeah.
from the toss, and India just really give it to Australia, because I think we're in for a fantastic Test match.
Yeah. Kishan, final thoughts before I wrap this up quickly?
Yeah, just like JB said about Cheteshwar Pujara, I just want to say one thing. Like a lot of people don't like it, but Cheteshwar Pujara scoring runs for Sussex in the Division 2, yes, it's good cricket. He has played county cricket, but Division 2 for Sussex, he had scored runs last year also, and it didn't translate into any performance when he played that 5th Test match. So I do not take Cheteshwar Pujara's runs in county cricket because, frankly speaking, Division 2 in English county is a pretty bad level. I would say Ranji Trophy has better bowlers than Division 2 of county cricket. Just because it's England doesn't mean you have those. Most of them are military medium trundlers. If you just watch the clippings of some of Cheteshwar Pujara's 100, so
Yeah.
I do not know how seriously I will take those runs. I would rather take 1,000 runs in Ranji Trophy way more seriously.
Then
And in
his
case of
hundreds
Shubman
in.
Gill,
Sure.
I would love to see. We have
Yeah.
seen that he's a fantastic beside the line player in Australia.
Yeah.
But how good is he behind the line player? Because you just can't plonk your front foot and hit across the line like
Absolutely.
he did.
I think that's what we're all waiting for. How will Shubman Gill react to conditions there? How will he adapt to those conditions there? Thank you so much, Jamie Alter and Kushan Sarkar, for joining us. News 9 Live is where you need to be to get all the latest from that World Test Championship final. We'll be covering that for you. So do join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.